Hey VC, Midge here, a guy in a hat and a broken finger who likes to talk about records. And recently I made a video about January, and I stand by everything I said, but there's one element of January that I left out, and this video is very pertinent to it, and that's New Year's resolutions. Because you always make New Year's resolutions in January. Well, yeah, I used to, but I don't anymore. But as a record collector, I think sometimes you do make New Year's resolutions. Like, for example, last year there's a band, a 70s band that I've always thought I need more stuff in my collection of theirs, but it's really expensive for original copies. But I thought during the course of the year, if I see one at an average price, they go for, between, I don't know, 60 and £100. If you see one in that range, and perhaps not 100, but in, perhaps 60, 70 quid, I'll buy it. Of course, the whole year when didn't pick any up, couldn't find any at the right price or the right conditions, so that was one New Year's resolution broke already. But this year, I thought my New Year's resolution for January and perhaps February anyway, even if it's just those 2 months, is I'm not going to buy any more records unless I see some new release albums that, crop up in January and February. I'll allow myself those, but I'm really going to cut back, because over the last year and a half, I've sort of accumulated a pile of about 100, 150 records through sales, through seeing it cheap, through like fear of missing out and buying it that I'm not listening to, and there's just a pile of them, and it's getting to there must be over 100 there. And I'm the sort of person that when I buy a record, I like to listen to it properly, and then when I get bored of it, I'll move on to another one. So I've not been giving these records time; they just sat there, and I thought, have a break. It's good to have a break and go through these records, try and get down some of them. You don't need any more. That's my resolution for January and February. And I thought, no purchases in January apart from new releases. Easy, right?
Wrong.
Well, as it turns out, it isn't. So in early January, the weekend, there's not a lot going on after Christmas. My wife said, do you fancy a trip to Chesterfield, which is near where I live, near Sheffield, next town along. So there's a couple of record shops in Chesterfield that I usually visit when we go. And I thought, nah, I won't. But then I was bored and I thought, well, just go and have a walk round. You can go to Chesterfield, visit these shops, and it just wouldn't hurt to look, right?
Wrong.
Yeah, so I thought, no, let's go. So I thought, even if you look in them, they're very unlikely after Christmas to have a lot of good stock, right?
Wrong.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, come on, you've got willpower. Even if you see something you like or you see a couple of titles, you don't have to buy them, do you, right?
Wrong.
Yeah, so anyway, let me take you down, because I'm going to Vanishing Records. So this is how to find it. So here we are, Chesterfield Town Centre. There's a very useful sign for finding the shop, because it is a bit tucked away. So you go down this channel, and in a minute you're going to see the saddest stone in Christendom. And I really feel for this guy. He's so sad. I mean, look, there he is. You just want to give him a big hug, don't you? So that's when you know you're on the right track. So you carry on down the channel, and in a minute you're going to see a really off-putting, huge blancmange-shaped dog, and that's when you know you're in the right area. Look, there it is. Look, it's a bit evil, isn't it? It always puts me about that. It's strange. So you turn right, then you go up these few steps. Watch your step. And record collecting is good for exercise, as you know, because here's some more steps. Here we go. Up we go. And I love that sign. And it's so true. Your new favourite record is just awaiting you in there. Your all-time favourite record could be sitting in the racks waiting for you. Oh, yeah, it gets dark early in Chesterfield. Oh, no, it's back there. Sorry, that's all right. So there's the shop. That's his cool T-shirt. I nearly bought one of those last year, but they only had skinny. And me and skinny, they don't go together very well. So here's the shop. So let's go inside. And there's the expensive stuff on the wall. It's always good to see something you've got going for a lot of money. A rug. I like a rug in a record shop. And yeah, there's some more expensive stuff. There's alt indie, prog and psychedelic, classic rock, and the singles are up there. And you've got soundtracks around here, and yeah, some cool stuff. Free jazz, jazz funk, and they even have a chair for vinyl widows. And here's my wife desperately trying to find out a way of cancelling my credit card, but she's too late. It's not going to happen. She got no chance. Because here we go, I'm about to dive into the jazz funk and the soul, my happy spot. So, yeah, look, she's still trying, I think. Yeah, look, she's still trying, bless her. She's got no chance. Here's the other side of the shop with some cool stuff on the walls. Great Foo Fighters poster there. And yeah, T-shirts and all that sort of shizzle. Oh yeah, and there's a radio station inside the shop, which is pretty cool as well. And I've just had a shout out from the lady because I was wearing a pretty cool hat and she commented on it, so I gave them away. But yeah, I'd love to have a go at a radio station, but you know, I haven't got the personality. So yeah, that's the shop. So that's Vanishing Point Records, really cool shop. And you know, I went in, still determined not to buy anything, just have a look and a dig while my wife was shopping. And, you know, within the first 5 minutes of me being in there, I knew I was in trouble. There was so many titles and good stuff there. I was really surprised. So the resolution went out the window straight away. So I bought 6 or 7 records, which I'm going to show you now. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of showing records before I've listened to them. I like to sort of give you a bit of a taste or review. But I know you lot like finds videos, so I'll show you what I bought. I'm not listened to any of these yet, but I'll just show you what I picked up on that day that broke the resolution. So no doubt these will be added to the pile of 100, 150 records that I'm going to have to find my way through at some point. But yeah, so first off, let's see. First off, I saw this. Slade, Play It Loud. I bloody love Slade. They're one of my favourite bands of the 70s. I think they're really underrated. Noddy Holder and Jim Lee were great songwriters, had a lot of chart success. And Play It Loud is one of them albums you don't see very often. And when you do see it, it tends to be at really high prices. I mean, classic rock prices have gone through the roof. So a lot of Slade albums do go for a lot of money now. Well, not a lot, but you know what I mean? They're more than I'm used to. Because you see Slade albums all the time for pennies back in the day when I was a nipper. And now they're all quite high priced. And this was at a good price. So I thought I'd pick it up. And I'm listening to there's a few gaps in my Slade collection. I'm listening to a Slade album a lot at the moment that I got recently. Really been enjoying it. And this price was too good to miss, so I picked it up. I don't know if it's an original pressing or not. It's on the red Polydor label, obviously. And I've heard some of the songs off it already. It's got Know Who You Are, Pook Hill, One Way Hotel, Shape of Things to Come. Because some of these tracks were collated together on the Sladist compilation, but I've always wanted to have this album. It's one of the gaps in my Slade collection, so I'm looking forward to listening to that. So that's Slade and Play It Loud. Next up, a bit of soul and funk. The Isley Brothers. I love the Isley Brothers. I've got quite a few of their 70s albums where they all went funky and disco and soul-y, and this is a double album. 1979, so it's quite a late one, and it's bound to be good, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I love the Isley Brothers, and the other disappointing thing about this album is that it's quite tame for them. I mean, look at the outfits on the cover. I mean, normally they go all out on the outfits, and I mentioned this before, but that's quite a tame look for them. So yeah, a bit disappointing, to be honest with you. Going riding there, and you know, Ernie Isley's got his leather trousers on and his spangly t-shirt, and you've got Chris Jasper inside with his far too tight trousers, with his vegetables on display, and for some reason on the back he's tooled up. Now I know some people might say, yeah, but he's tooled up in that picture as well, which he obviously is, but that's proper tooled up, isn't it, that one? And his tight trousers have reminded me of a joke. Do we tell jokes in the vinyl community? I'll tell you this one. It's my favourite joke. So the joke reminds me of Chris's tight trousers. So this guy's on a beach, right? And he spots this bloke walking towards him. in his Speedos, and he's an average looking guy, not a guy that women would probably look at twice. And he's walking along and he's absolutely surrounded by 20 or 30 bikini wearing women, all following him. And this guy can't believe it. I wonder what the attraction is here. So a bit later on, he spots him at the beach bar, this guy, and he says to him, "Why were you being followed by so many women? What's the secret?" And he says, "Look, I'll tell you what the secret is. What you need to do is get a couple of potatoes and a carrot and put them in your chunks, and you'll be amazed at the results." So this bloke goes away and he thinks, brilliant, I'll try that tomorrow on the beach. So this guy gets up in the morning, gets a couple of potatoes and a carrot, puts them in his trunks, and he starts walking along the beach, and he's strutting his stuff and he's waiting for the women to come along. Then all of a sudden he notices that every woman he passes starts screaming and looking in horror and running off. And he's walking along and all these women are screaming and running away, and he's thinking, what's going on here? But he spots the bloke from yesterday that gave him the tip. So he goes over to the bloke and he says, "I did exactly what you said, and all these women are running away screaming." And he says, "You meant to put them down the front of your trunks." I love that joke. Anyway, the Isley Brothers, Winner Takes All. Next up, another soul album. I bought this on the strength of the cover, to be honest, and this is the Chilites, and it's Letter to Myself. And look at that cover. That cover's amazing. I love that. It's got so much atmosphere to it. On Brunswick, I think this is an American press in the gatefold. You even get the Letter to Myself there, which I'll tell you about another time. And yeah, this is the Brunswick label, famous Brunswick label with the rainbow arrow. So a bit of soft soul there. And another talk about interesting outfits. There's the Chilites themselves. I'm not too keen on these outfits. They look like, something that your mother would wear. Obviously matching, but quite funky. But yeah, I'm not sure that they're selling that look to me, to be honest with you. But yeah, that was a really cool thing to pick up. Yeah, great cover. Next up, something a bit different. The cover sold this to me, and it's on Sire. And when I was looking at it, everything on the cover made me think this is for me. I've not heard it yet. In its synergy with Sequencer. And love the cover with the switch on it, and also I love the back cover because it's just full of very interesting knobs, for want of a better word, and transistors and lots of electronic gear and primitive synthesizers and modular units. So I thought this is bound to be right up my alley. And when I was looking at the credits, it says the guy behind it is Larry Fast, whose name I've seen on jazz albums, and he's worked with quite a few artists, I think, adding obviously synthesizer type effects to albums in the 70s and 80s. So I like the look of that. So I thought, yeah, that's probably going to be right up my alley. And it's on the classic Sire label. I think it was originally on Passport Records, so I'm not sure if this is an American press or a European press. I think it had a different cover. I think it had more of a prog rock cover when it was initially issued. But it just looks great. It looks really interesting. And it says on the back, P.S. lyric sheet not enclosed. I presume that's because it's instrumental. And it says, "and still no guitars," which I'm wondering if is a reference to Queen, who used to put on their albums no synthesizers. So I wonder if it's a bit of a go at Queen, basically saying this is full of them. So no conventional instrumentation or sound effects were used. Do not be misled by your ears. The record contains material recorded solely with the electronic synthesizer equipment mentioned. And there's all sorts of equipment mentioned, obviously Moogs and Oberheims and things like that. But yeah, this looks right up my alley, so I'm hoping it proves to be the case. It's a little bit, it was cheap, it was a little bit of damage to the sleeve, so I'll be getting the black Sharpie out and trying to repair it. Yeah, I do that, and it works wonders, to be honest. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to listening to that. Next up, a bit of folk, and this is an album. I mean, you know, I've seen this album before. I've never really picked up on it. It's by Fairport Convention. It's Babacoom Lee. I've obviously got lots of Fairport Convention, the early stuff, but the later stuff after Sandy Denny it's left and it became an all-male band. I've not really picked up on, so I've seen this for a few times, but this seemed to be the right price. It was in good condition because it's hard to find in good condition, and it's the gatefold sleeve and with the inner sleeve with the lyrics, and it also comes with the booklet, presumably about the life and times of John Babacoom Lee, who the album's about. I don't know anything about him yet because, like I say, I haven't listened to the album, but the liner notes sounded interesting. Obviously a bit of a concept album. It's obviously a later pressing because it's on this island label. I presume the original was on a pink rim, possibly. But yeah, it sounds like an interesting concept album, and the liner notes on the back say the story of John's life is a story of one who, rightly or wrongly, was doomed in the flush of manhood to a torture more fiendish than the human mind, unaided by the demon of circumstance. I've never met the demon of circumstance, but obviously it had a big part in John Babacoom Lee's life, and obviously seemed to be very unfortunate in terms of he seemed to have married himself there. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I dated a girl that looked like that when I was a teenager. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, your Fairport Convention, this lineup has Simon Nicol, Dave Mattox, Dave Swarbrick and Dave Pegg. But yeah, I think looking forward to listening to that. Bit of a concept album, I think. But yeah, it's always been a gap in my Fairport Convention album. So yeah, looking forward to listening to that. Next up, we switched to Psychedelia, and I couldn't believe this was in the racks, and I couldn't believe the price either, but then I realised why. So this is, I'm not sure what year it's from, but yeah, this is Psychedelia. This is the Tea Company with Come and Have Some Tea with the Tea Company, and I don't get excited. It's not an original pressing. I think it's a bootleg. Well, it looks like a bootleg to me anyway. So that's the label. So that looks like a bootleg to me, but still, don't bother me. It was a great price, and it's thick cardboard sleeve. And I have heard this, not for a long time though. Never owned a copy, so I was really pleased to pick it up. But I seem to remember it's very psychedelic, so I'm really looking forward to listening to that. And like I say, don't bother me that it's a reissue at all. It's in great condition, and it was a great price. And come and have some tea with the Tea Company. Just your cup of tea, the brisk, enjoyable Tea Company, blending here only the choicest cuts. I mean, I don't like tea. I'm strictly a coffee person, but I'm hoping that, you know, this sort of tea brew will be right up my alley. So I was really pleased to pick that up. Come and have some tea with the Tea Company. Obviously, I'll probably review all these albums properly at a later date when I get round to listening to them in the year 2030. Next up, disco album. I love disco, unashamedly so. I've mentioned it before. This is an album that I've been looking out for a while. Classic. Well, the title track's a classic, and it's the Tramps, Disco Inferno. Absolute barnstormer of a disco tune. And this album has the full 10-minute version on it. We're nearly 11 minutes actually, but yeah, look at the guys there in the matching outfits. There's a lot of Tramps there. Yeah, they'll be moved on if they're not careful by the city council. And yeah, really great to pick this up, cheap as well. Some very interesting tracks track titles on here as well. That you've got Body Contact Contract, and you've got I Feel Like I've Been Living on the Dark Side of the Moon. Hopefully a Pink Floyd collaboration, although I doubt it, but that'd be amazing. Imagine Pink Floyd going disco. And my favourite title on here, You Touch My Hotline. So that should be interesting. But yeah, 11-minute version of Disco Inferno on here. Oh, amazing, can't go wrong with that. So yeah, a bit of disco. Two left. So next up, we've got something that I've heard of the band before, but I don't know anything about it, never heard of it, and it's Zebra, or Zebra, or Zebra if you're American. and this is the album Panic, and I think they are sort of like a jazz rock progressive type band. I think, although I've never heard of them, I've heard of them. I think they do music along the lines of, you remember like the mid-70s period when Zappa went jazz and he did a lot of like jazz fused albums. I think they're that sort of band. I think they're sort of like a jazz rock fusion type band. And I really like the silver letter effect on the cover, and again it was a good price and it looked really interesting. They're the musicians in the band, and there's a version of You've Lost That Loving Feeling on here, which is a song that I've never really liked, but hopefully a jazz rock version would be better. So I'm looking forward to listening to that, and that's on, again, Red Polydor label. So yeah, Zebra and Panic, looking forward to listening to that. And lastly, Quincy Jones, or the Quince as I call him. And this is Mellow Madness. I think I've only got a couple of Quincy Jones albums, so I saw this and I thought I'd give it a go. Hopefully quite jazz funky and mellow, as the title suggests. And they've got some interesting guests on here. You've got people like Leon Ware, Minnie Riperton. You've got some high-profile musicians, or quite high-profile session musicians. You've got people like Harvey Mason, Wah Watson, Toots Thielemans, and lots of good guest stars. You've got people like I say, Leon Ware, Paulette Williams, George Johnson, and even the What's Profits, which I'm interested to hear that track as well. And the Brothers Johnson play on it, of course, because Quincy Jones produced the Brothers Johnson's albums, which were hugely successful. Brothers Johnson are really underrated, in my opinion. I don't know why people don't shout about their albums more often, because they are absolutely superb. But yeah, Quincy Jones discovered them, I think, and he produced most of their albums, which all went platinum. So they were a big band, and they feature on here as well. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. A bit of Quince on A&M. So yeah, all in all, a great visit to Vanishing Point, and there was quite a few things that I could have, other titles that I could have picked up on, but you know, my wife was there and she was looking increasingly worried, and you know, I was getting increasingly worried as well, because you know, sometimes when my willpower goes, it all goes. But yeah, that's January for you. Again, I blame January wholeheartedly for this. So that's one resolution down. So good job I didn't make any more. So let's see what February brings. And yeah, I still need to slow down. I need to stay away from record shops. That is the thing. I need to stay away. But if you get a chance, if you're passing through Chesterfield, Vanishing Point Records, great shop. Well worth a visit, except if you've got a New Year's resolution you made in January that you don't want to break. So yeah, see you on the next video. Midge out.